so I can have a cool painting behind me. I'm gonna put a picture of my dog right there. All right. Ah, shit. All right, whatever.
How you holding up, man? Oh, you look pretty. Don't worry about it.
Oh, how am I holding up? No, I'm good, actually. I'm real good. It's just, the way things went down at work were, working for MGM Resorts was like, we ended up finding out on a, Friday, or sorry, it was a Thursday. Actually, yeah, Ryan was actually out here that Thursday, and it was like, everything was cool. Everything was fine. Next thing you know, we got the call Friday that we weren't going to be open, and then Sunday they laid everyone off. I mean, they let 35,000 people.
That's crazy. So you guys aren't getting any, but can you get unemployment or?
Yeah, we're on unemployment right now. We're on unemployment plus the stimulus, so that's nice. But it's the fact that we're just not working right now. So, MGM decided to cut our bills. It is what it is. It kind of sucks. Other companies decided to keep people on for a month. Like Wynn Resorts kept people on for a month, and they're still paying people out through May. But MGM decided to, just bail on everyone. So it sucks. It is what it is. But yeah, no. At the end of the day, like, I'm loving it, man. Like, me and my girl, my dog. I'm fine. We, a lot of Xbox, working out all the time. How are you doing? How's life with you?
Yeah, same stuff. We're basically the same thing. But you're working out where? Do you have something set up at your house or?
We've been doing just like free weights here and there, and then also I'm addicted to running right now. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm running like 3 miles a day, 4 miles a day. I'm like Forrest Gump. I got these shoes. I was ordering online or buying stuff online, and I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna go ahead and, spend money on shoes. And Vegas was really nice, and all of a sudden it is it is April 24th, so now it's getting a little hot outside. So other than that, it's not bad. You just got to get out and run in the mornings or run at night. But that's all we're doing, just running and trying to stay busy, trying to stay active, trying to just, be as busy as possible. Actually, David and Janice were with us for 311 when everything was going down. 311 was the last show in Las Vegas. They thought they weren't going to play. I thought David and Janice were going to be stuck with me because they were figuring out if they could get flights out, and they were lucky enough to get their flight and get out of here.
So everything is closed. So if you go down to the Strip right now, it's all, I mean, are there even like security guards at door? I mean, can you get into hotels or can you get into casinos?
No, you can't get into anything. Every casino's closed. I mean, it's shut down, locked down. I'll send you some pictures of what hotels have done is they are putting the hotel room lights on with like hearts and stuff like that, and like sayings, Vegas strong and everything. But we drove down the Strip the other day and it was empty. I mean, there's not a soul walking the sidewalk. It's creepy. It's actually very, very creepy and eerie because, this is Las Vegas. This is, it's an international city in the United States where, millions and millions and millions of people come visit every year, and their conventions are closed down, shows, nightlife, obviously, casinos. This is insane when you actually look at the logistics of how much revenue Vegas is losing per day. it's staggering. I mean, it's absolutely staggering to think about how much money a casino like the Bellagio is losing per day. It's not open right now.
Your mayor was on TV yesterday or the day before.
Let's talk about Caroline Goodman.
Let's talk about her. I to be honest with you, this is the first time I've ever been, introduced to her. I knew she was a mayor, but I didn't really see how she acts, or not acts in a bad way, but I mean, just like, she kind of reminds me of like one of my Jewish, aunts or something like that, who just kind of, so I don't know. Let's talk about that. What are your thoughts on that one?
Mayor Goodman is the wife of Oscar Goodman. That's who Oscar Goodman was, the former mayor of Las Vegas. And Oscar Goodman, his story of Las Vegas is he's kind of like, damn it, Poodle. Anyways, he's kind of like the reason why she has a name at the end of the day. Oscar Goodman in Las Vegas he's up there. He's one of the founders of Las Vegas. He was the attorney for Anthony Spilotro. If you know who Anthony Spilotro is, Anthony Spilotro is the movie Casino was kind of based around, Joe Pesci's character. Right. Oscar Goodman's actually in the movie as the attorney. Oscar Goodman is, known in Las Vegas as a Steve Wynn character, but on the legal side. He's Oscar Goodman, friendliest guy ever. Everyone loves Oscar Goodman. Walks around with a giant martini all the time with the showgirls. And then his wife ran. And we're like, okay, I guess.
So did he pass away?
He's still alive. He just didn't want to be mayor anymore.
Okay.
And so he's still alive. Actually, I saw him a couple years ago, and he was walking around a baseball game, and he's just very active. He's very active with the community. He's a great guy. And so when she ran, it was kind of like, okay, well, it'll be kind of like almost like, I'm not gonna say Bill and Hillary because it's not, but it'd be kind of like she wanted to run, and so she was elected. She got 80% of the vote out here. I think people don't understand, like, she got 80% of the vote of Clark County. And what she said was it's a lot of people are saying, well, why wouldn't you want Las Vegas to be open? Well, I don't know, because, right, I saw the thing on last week tonight where he's saying, basically, it's like comparing O.J. Simpson to Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, this is a serious disease. This is killing thousands of people every day and putting people in a controlled environment like a casino. I mean, casinos are not the safest place to be, especially with the amount of interactions you create with somebody or many people, multiple people, thousands of people in such a short time. Casinos aren't the thing to open right now. And it sucks for me to say, being a former employee or kind of employee of MGM Resorts and being part of the nightlife there, but it's just not the time. There's a time and place for this. And to open casinos right now, it's just not the time until we find something better. And what Mayor Goodman was saying was actually pretty offensive, to myself, because, I have an 80-year-old grandmother that is highly susceptible to this. I have people in my family and people in my life that, could die of this. And so why would you want to risk? All you're saying is that you don't care about us. That's pretty much what she said publicly in front of everyone, on CNN. I mean, Anderson Cooper I think he did a great job, holding himself together, because I would have lost it. I would have just said, what are you talking about? We have 2.3 million people down here, 35,000 employees at MGM Resorts and all these other, the tens of thousands of employees on the Strip, and you want to take hundreds of thousands of millions of people and take them to Las Vegas for them to interact. We don't know where those people have been. We don't know. It's shocking to me that Las Vegas didn't have an outbreak like New York. But I think what our governor did with social distancing, our social distancing went into place very soon, extremely quickly. Our social distancing went in weeks before Arizona, weeks before California. Vegas shut down, and we've been shut down since, March. was it March? I mean, early March. Yeah, 3/11. I mean, that's when we shut down. So when people are talking about, oh, we've been locked down and open this, open that, well, Vegas has been shut down for a while now, and we're still staying strong. And we have a ton of people here. We have a very tight knit community, and if we can do it, everyone can do it. So I still think that we need to wait a little bit longer. I think our mayor, she shot her chances of getting reelected in November. I mean, it's kind of funny. You're seeing all of our friends post who wants to be mayor, because anybody obviously can be mayor in Las Vegas right now.
I mean, we could do Pasquale, or we could do one of the Waits brothers, or we could do whoever at this point.
Anybody right now could run for mayor. I mean, it's like if you have somewhat of a name in Las Vegas, you could probably run for mayor right now and do well. I mean, Joe Exotic got 30% of the vote in Oklahoma. If Joe Exotic can get 30% of the vote in Oklahoma, I'm sure a guy like Pasquale or somebody in nightlife could run for mayor out here and win pretty heavily.
So you, well, let's I want to come back to this. I definitely want to circle back to this, but I was just thinking, and you're the second person that I've had on since I started this podcast that I've been friends with for a while and actually never physically, actually, no, the first girl I met once with Ryan, and then we've been friends for almost 2 years, and we've never physically met in person ever. And you and I have never actually met in person. So I guess we met via Cabrera, but how did you meet Ryan in the first place?
That's a very funny story. So the way I met Ryan, I was working at Mirage, and I got invited to a party from a guy named Majestic. Now, if you know who Majestic is Majestic was Michael Jackson's personal magician. And this guy I got invited somehow that they wanted me to come to this party, and I walk in, and this party it was weird. It was like, people were dressed as aliens. It was a kind of different feel. And I looked over, and it was like me and Ryan were the only two white guys there, and everyone was dressed as aliens. And we kind of made eye contact with each other. And I just kind of said, "Hey man, I'm John." And he's like, "I'm Ryan, nice to meet you." And it was this, I won't go into too much detail because it was weird. And he kind of looked, and this is 2007, I think. This is like 2007, 2008. And it was a weird meeting, but he ended up saying like, "Hey man, let's what are you doing tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, I got to go to work." And I was working at a club at Treasure Island, and he came in, and then we became buddies. And then I started working at the Palms, and he would come to Vegas, and I would kind of just be the guy that you call in Vegas. And then over time, I would start getting calls from, all the roommates and all the friends and all the family. And next thing you know, it's, his brother and his mom and everyone's like that. So him and I became friends that way throughout the years. And, I missed a FaceTime call from him yesterday, but, I'm lucky enough to call him one of my good friends.
Yes, he's currently, I'm talking with him in the next couple of days. I don't know, but I was supposed to do it on Wednesday, and then something got sidetracked. But yeah, I haven't spoke to him. I mean, we've been texting, but he's in an undisclosed location at this time, so I don't know what he's saying about things, and you know what I mean. So hopefully we'll get all that information when I get him on here. But so you were at TI Treasure Island. That's kind of was your start in Vegas, or
my start in nightlife in Vegas. I was working at Mirage before that, so I've been in Las Vegas most of my life. I mean, I remember when the Excalibur was built. I remember when if everything about Las Vegas. I mean, back when the landmark was exploded, I saw the Aladdin get taken down. I mean, I've been in Las Vegas most of my life. Actually, it's a funny story. When I was growing up here as a kid going to elementary school, the impersonator Neil Diamond used to drive me to school. I mean, so I would go to school, and the guy driving me to school was the impersonator Neil Diamond. It was just kind of like that. That's the way I grew up. So I was listening to, you know, the Neil Diamond's greatest hits, and in our class we had a Elton John impersonator and an Elvis impersonator. So it's a very different city to grow up in. It's a very different city to kind of see evolve. My start was at Treasure Island at a club called Christian Audige, which was the old Ed Hardy club, and the company I worked for was Pure Management. So I worked for that, and then I worked at a LAX nightclub, and then also Pure Nightclub. So that was the kind of the three clubs that I worked at under Pure Management. That was a great experience. It was very trying. It was one of those things. It was like kind of join the Marines. You kind of get thrown in, and you're working 80 hours a week. You're being yelled at 24 hours a day, but you're loving it.
So you're a host when you started there, like how you started, or?
Yeah, I was a host when I started there. I was a nightlife host when I started there, and kind of worked my way up. If you know the history of Pure Management, some things kind of happened there. They ended up kind of changing the way that nightlife is in Las Vegas today. That's the best way to put it. And then I had the fortunate opportunity to go over to the Palms, and at the Palms that's when the Palms was really starting to kick off. It was the end of 2008. It was, I mean, absolutely unbelievable. The atmosphere, the vibe, the people, working for the Maloofs, working for guys like John Gray, working for guys like, you know, J-Rock, working for people like that, and Pasquale Romano. They were absolutely phenomenal people to work for and work with, because they taught me they actually helped me grow as a human being. And they taught me that, you know, nightlife isn't your entire life, that, you know, and this is back when the Palms was the only place that had electronic music at the time. I mean, there was Paul Oakenfold on Friday or Saturday nights, because DJ AM would do Friday nights, and so we had AM on Friday nights and Oakenfold on Saturday nights, and that was like, you know, to see the evolution of electronic music to where it was to where it is now is actually something that a lot of people will start talking about the back in the day. And I'll have the Facebook reminders of, you know, 10 years ago, you know, this happened. And it was like 10 years ago, Diplos played at Moon nightclub on a Tuesday. You know, 10 years ago, Iggy Azalea played at Ghost Bar on a Wednesday or something like that. It's been a cool experience, kind of seeing where they were to where they are now, and kind of being a part of that.
Well, I opened Dre's in Los Angeles, and we had, you know, the DJs came through, and there's a position, I don't even know what it was called, but it was basically a DJ babysitter. So when the DJs came there, they made sure that all their hookups were correct, and, you know, do, you know, all that kind of stuff, make sure levels, because we were on top of a building. We need to make sure that the volumes are good and stuff like that. And that guy who had that job was Dylan Francis. So so it definitely is weird to see, you know, those kind of people. I mean, there was a promoter that worked for me named John Borges, who is, you know, a pretty big DJ now. So no, I get it. It's like coming back from seeing, like you said, the Facebook stuff 10 years ago. Like, that stuff is so, it blows my mind watching when you see those, hey, this is what happened 10 years ago, and you're going, I can't believe, you know, Dylan is one of the top DJs right now and producers. And
it's like this, we would see, when I was working at Pure, we had Steve Aoki, I think it was on the patio. And it was like, the patio was the place for electronic music at Pure. So, I mean, we're talking 20 people dancing around in a circle, you know, and everyone else going downstairs to go listen to hip hop. And it's Steve Aoki and Afrojack and all these other artists. It was cool, man. It was definitely, I mean, I'll look through it, and we had Paul Van Dyke, we had Oakenfold, you know, we had a lot of the old school guys, because having Paul Oakenfold part of our, and this is Paul Oakenfold 2008, when we had him, it was like everybody wanted to come see Paul Oakenfold spin. It was like having, you know, the Chainsmokers of today. And it was crazy. It was a great experience. I loved working there. That I don't think, especially with nowadays, and it's sad too, because it kind of hits you that, like, you know, are we ever going to be able to have 4,000 people, 3,000 people packed in a nightclub again in such close proximity, going crazy at a set? You know, the way things are looking right now, I don't think nightlife's going to open up in Las Vegas at the end of this year. That's just personally the way I feel. Maybe smaller venues like the club I work at Mayfair at Bellagio, on the record at the Park, the Houston Brothers property. I think those will open up because they're smaller venues and you can have a more controlled environment. But having the mega nightclubs, I don't think that they're going to be able to open up in such a way where 3,000 people can be placed in a venue, because how are you going to control that? How are we going to be able to do that? Is everyone has to wear personal protection?
So, I mean, it's also the service too. Like, you're in a booth, there's, 10 or 15 of you, 5, whatever it is. And then also the back servers or bottle servers, whatever, the boys that are bringing out your bottle and your glasses. And you have to think how many hands have touched that glass before you would have to have some sort of sanitizer there to, that one is because I've been watching a lot of podcasts to just kind of see what's out there, and I kind of got into a lot of comedy ones like Tom Segura and Whitney and those kind of people, and they talk about it through the comedy kind of situation where it's like, there's 50 or 60 people all crammed into a small comedy club, all on top of each other, basically. Right. And the same sort of thing. They're getting these drinks from these cocktail waitresses. You have no idea where that cocktail waitress has been and stuff.
It's like we're one big STD pool. Essentially, that's what it is. That's what it's like. Instead of everyone boning each other, it's like, where have you been? Who have you been? That's kind of the way. I mean, it's scary because that's the way you're gonna have to look at people nowadays. It's like, where have you been? Who have you been with? What have you been doing? Because I don't know this person, from anyone, and they're serving food to me. Where's that plate gone? Where the guy taking the plate from the back, bringing it to the front, handing it off. There's so many things. There's so many interactions that happen before the customer sees the actual presentation that, how is it even possible? It's not possible, especially when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to like nightlife, when it comes to something like that. I don't think it's gonna. I think smaller venues, yes, a little more controlled environment, but the bigger environments is just going to be extremely, extremely difficult. So, I mean, Las Vegas as a whole is going to get hit hard. I think we're waiting for SEMA, the car show in November. I think that's our first convention that we're kind of looking forward to. Other than that, I think CES is in January. CES, Consumer Electronics Shows, in January. It's the largest electronic show in the world. 300,000-400,000 people come to Las Vegas. How are they going to do that? How are you going to? If you've ever been to CES, it is jam packed, and especially with the tensions between Asia and the United States. You have companies like Samsung bringing over 70,000 people, 50,000 people into Las Vegas. How are you going to do that? How are you going to? There's so many logistical nightmares for this city. I think people in our government really need to step back and take a look and say, how are we going to do this safely? How are we going to do this to protect? Because at the end of the day, we need to protect people 100%. And we can't have mayors shooting off the hip on Anderson Cooper saying things, because that'll cause panic in Las Vegas. And being such a small community, we cannot have panic set in. We're doing a very good job right now being calm. Everyone's doing what they need to do, but we cannot have panic set in from things that our mayor is saying. And we need to take a step back and really look back and just say, hey, look, we're in this together, smaller venues, and go from there. Bringing nightlife back to where it was in 2007 and 2008 when I started, Tangerine nightclub and Christian Auger and all these small nightclubs, C2K and The Drink and Babies and all those nightclubs weren't major nightclubs. They were tiny, small venues that I remember walking in there and walking into Babies and walking into some of these venues and going, this is it. Like, this is the nightclub. It's 4,000 square feet. It's not these, mega huge places that people are jamming into and, chandeliers are falling from the ceiling. We got to go back to where it started and go small. I think for just safety precautions.
Well, I mean, I felt like, especially in the past couple of years, it's kind of been going that way. Anyways, I mean, I feel like, especially with the Houston brothers, I mean, these guys bought, they opened a bunch of Good Times at Davy Wayne's, and they have a bunch of them now. I'm blanking on all their places. Me and Ryan go to a lot of them, and they're small little bars, and I felt like that. I mean, because there is no. Excess was like the biggest nightclub in the world. I mean, and it still might be, but are people going to? Are people still spending money? I guess at clubs, because it used to be, there was a guy that you may have known, Don Johnson, not the actor, but he was like he would spend hundreds of thousands of dollars at a night, and the bottle service, a bottle of Grey Goose was, $1,200, $1,500. It doesn't seem like it's like that anymore. I mean, was it taking a downfall?
No, I think it still is, because you got clubs like you see the revenue come out, or the numbers come out for clubs like Omnia, Hakkasan, XS. Those numbers come out and they're staggering. I mean, people are still, we were supposed to have the NFL draft here in Las Vegas this week. It's supposed to be happening today. I was getting quotes for that back in February. $25,000 for a table was not something that people were stunned by. So yeah, I think nightclubs, instead of there's just fewer of. So back then, there'd be one guy and he would spend $100,000. Now it's a table doing that every night. I think it's just not one guy. I think it's a group of people now that are doing it. People are kind of joining together and kind of spending like that. And the mega nightclubs do get packed. They're sold out. Drake is at Excess. I mean, you got a guy like Drake who's performing at Excess. Good luck trying to get in there. It's tough. The Chainsmokers, you got Calvin Harris at Omnia. You got all these major performers at all these amazing venues. It's gonna be hard to see. It's gonna be tough to see how they're gonna reopen those. Like I said, I think the smaller venues are the ones that are going to be having to open first, and just going from there.
So you think so? So I'm wrong then. So you think that it's still pretty that nightclub business, especially in Vegas. I'm not really much so in LA.
Yeah, no, nightclubs in Vegas they're entertainment out. Entertainment. What was it? The statistic came out because gaming is down year over year 8%. So gaming is down because millennials and people in the generation from 21 to 35, they don't want to go to Las Vegas and go hit the tables. They want to experience things, and they'll join together and spend $3,000 for a night out and spend $3,000 on a table because they want to experience something. Gaming is down, entertainment is up. Entertainment has surpassed revenues in Las Vegas over top of gaming. When you're having people saying, let's spend, the reason why they'll spend $100 million on a Britney Spears is because she brings in revenue. She brings in people to come into the casino. She brings people that it's worth people spending money on that ticket. I think that you're going to see, I think the gaming industry is the one that's going to take the hit the hardest, more than nightlife. After nightlife for myself, I worked for a gaming company for a small bit, but I learned everything there was to know about gaming because I was, going over to London and learning kind of with the way they were doing things over there as well. And it was very eye-opening to see kind of where the casino gaming industry is going. Everything's going digital. People aren't really wanting to go to the Cosmo and take $500 and throw it in a slot machine. You're going to see that's the older crowd. And that kind of crowd's starting to die off a little bit because, people want more bang for their buck, I guess. So I think personally, if you're say an industry is going to take the biggest hit from Las Vegas, I think it's the gaming floors. I think it's the casino floors that are going to take the biggest hit, especially now when people realize, their income isn't guaranteed. So, you got all these people coming to Las Vegas. They don't have a disposable income anymore. No one has disposable income where they can come to Vegas and go, hey, I'm going to blow $5,000 at the tables. I mean, there are people that do, but I'm saying, the 50% or the general population that are coming to Las Vegas are watching every dime they spend here. And they're accounting for every dime that they spend here because they don't want to have an experience where they've lost money at a slot machine or on the table. So I think gaming is going to take a bigger hit than nightlife. And nightlife is going to take a hit, but it's not going to be as big as gaming.
Well, I mean, when times are good, you want to drink, and when times are bad, you want to drink. So the alcohol, that business is never going to go anywhere anyways. I was just, thinking, because I originally, going back to the Palms, and I don't even know if this was the opening, but I remember I was friends with JJ Jones, who worked for one of the Maloofs, and we were at some nighty party or something like that. I remember getting these pajamas. I don't know if that was an opening or something, or
that might have been the Playboy party, or that might have also been I'm blanking on his name right now, but he was a casino host. He used to have his nightlife. It was a pajama party, and that's what I think it was. But it was great. I remember the pajama parties there, and JJ definitely was, kind of the a master of ceremony when it came to those Playboy or the pajama parties.
He still is a friend, but he's a professional friend. That's what he is. I mean, that's really what I call him, because I like to crap on him. But and I've known him through my whole club business. But he got me into the club business originally because I was going to these clubs and I was seeing these guys like Don and the Prince and all these other people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a bottle of champagne that they don't even drink. Right. And I was thinking, you guys should take this money and do something else with it. And through many of years of being in the nightclub business, I realized that that's what they want to do. They don't want to invest it in TV or movies or a house or anything like that. All they want to do is just blow it on alcohol. I just think it's so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you remember, so since everybody's at home right now, Dirty Money, there's an episode for Jolo that's on there. Jolo was another big spender in Las Vegas that would come out here and do $1 million in a night. And he was spending money like it wasn't his, well, because it wasn't his. And so there's a good shot of him in Las Vegas, and he's buying, his tab was $500,000 or something like that. And just tipping waitresses. And I think people, there are still people like that come to Las Vegas. There are still people, they're just not as well known. Because back then, first Don Johnson has the name, and it's kind of it kind of rings synonymous with the actor. But and Don was a great guy, and he's always very professional, always very kind to me. I always got along great with Don Johnson. He was always very respectful to everybody, to even the wait staff and everybody. So I think that's another reason why he would come, and it was the tipping, because he would always tip very well. And the Las Vegas industry, people talk, and you remember, or you kind of talk about who's a great tipper and who's not. And that's where he kind of became famous. I just think we still have those spenders. I just don't think they're as the big names like the Don Johnsons or the Jolos anymore.
From Pure, you left them. Why did you leave that company?
Pure? No, I had an opportunity over at the Palms. Pure went under. I mean, it's closed down now. Pure went under IRS investigation because of if you hear about the stories of the door guys at Pure that were doing millions where they actually had to have their pockets. So
is that Stevie D? That one?
That was CVDs.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the CVD. So I worked for CVD back then, and that was I mean, he wouldn't know who I am because I was a nobody there, but that's the situation I was in over there. So I went over to the Palms. Palms was great. Don't get me wrong, the Palms was a great situation. Loved the Palms. working for those guys were unbelievable. Working for the Maloofs, JJ, unbelievable. John Gray's unbelievable. All the people I worked over there, they were very, very good people. And nightlife really kind of exploded over there. It was just a cool place to be. And it was great. I can't say anything bad about it.
So after the Palms?
After the Palms, I went to the Hard Rock for a quick second. Because everybody, there was a time in 2012, where nightlife changed in Las Vegas. They didn't know where they were going. They didn't know if they were going to go hip hop. They didn't know if they were going to go electro. They didn't know. So the Palms kind of started experimenting with different ideas. And a lot of people from the Palms went over to the Hard Rock. So I made that switch for a quick summer and realized that wasn't for me. And I kind of took a break from Las Vegas. So I moved to Arizona for a couple of years just to kind of get away from Las Vegas for a little bit because I needed to take a break and really kind of when you're working that 80-hour a week, not sleeping every day in a suit, every day going out, meeting people, shaking hands, it's exhausting. I mean, I wasn't taking time for myself. I wasn't taking a break. So I was really burning the candle at both ends. And I remember waking up one day and it was like, I woke up and I was just like, I got to get out of here. So I packed my car, went to Arizona to go stay with my brother because I just had to get out of Las Vegas. So I did that, came back in 2000, I want to say like 15, worked with a casino company, got in the casino business because a friend of mine had a casino business that he was started up, did fairly well with that. And then dabbled around the hospitality. I wanted to go back into hospitality, but I didn't know exactly where in the hospitality groups I wanted to go. So I went hotel side. So I decided to work at Trump Hotels, which was a very educational experience during his election.
Is that where you met David? Just kidding.
No. Actually, I was working David. When David found out I worked at Trump Hotels, he was very interested in knowing if I knew the Trump family, which I didn't. I did know, I got to meet Eric Trump a couple times. I got a couple emails from the family, but I never got any, personal, hey, let's go meet up kind of contact with them. I can't say a bad thing about the Trump family. They're absolutely phenomenal people to work for. Don Jr. and Eric were great, very hands-on, always open for ideas, always open for suggestions. They were absolutely great people. And then to realize that got a little tough because so working for Trump Hotels, I was the marketing manager, so I took care of all the marketing and PR. And right before that, the Route 91 shooting happened. And after that, Vegas became very hectic and very crazy. Things went on lockdown. That's what I'm saying. Las Vegas is a very resilient city. We know how to bounce back. We know how to take a hit. Especially with that. I mean, people don't realize the United States' largest mass shooting, actually world's largest mass shooting. And it's, people didn't want to come to Vegas. They took a hit, and we bounced back stronger. We bounced back, and it became the city where everybody wanted to come to again. When I was working for Trump Hotels, I was getting emails, dear Mr. President, da 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 da. So I was the guy reading. So if you ever emailed Trump Hotels thinking you were going to get to the president, you were actually getting me, and I was the one reading all the emails. And then we'd have a lot of protests, and we'd have a lot of things at that hotel, which was extremely interesting. And business there was up and down, and it was definitely a educational experience to work for Trump Hotels during his presidency. So I went from there to MGM, which was nice. It was a nice little.
And you're doing marketing at MGM now, or not now, but that's what you're.
Right now I'm doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right now I'm doing I'm learning how to play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Right now I'm an executive VIP host, so I'm back to hosting. I'm back to doing it's actually a nightlife and events. So MGM is a great company to be able to actually work events for, and actually work and on the side of, they have a lot of free range. Working with Sean Christie has been unbelievable. Working, with the people that I'm working for, they're great. MGM's, working for Mark Houston. Mark Houston's one of the owners of, On the Record, and being part of that team is great. Primarily I'm at Mayfair, which is at the Bellagio, which is the old Hyde, which is kind of the way I saw Las Vegas going, which was more of it's a dinner plus show, plus it's unbelievable on the water. It's absolutely, it's very Roaring 20s. Unbelievable spots to be at when it comes to nightlife at the MGM. So that's what I've been doing now. But no, it's just it's been definitely ups and downs in the nightlife career. But that's what nightlife is in Las Vegas. That's what nightlife is all around. You look at the situation where everybody jumped ship to go over to Chaos or Bertha Palms. I mean, that thing was open for what, 7 months, 6 months?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what happened. I mean, I think you and I spoke. You were the one who told me that Jesse and Si weren't even there anymore. Like, I didn't even. I mean, and unfortunately, I knew someone who was working there that was on the opening team that passed away.
Right.
I didn't know anything about this thing, and it was being hyped up, and everyone was promoting it and doing it, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared. So I mean, I don't even know.
You think about what they did. They dumped so much money into that thing. They spent so much money on talent, and then it went away in a blink of an eye. So I think that you definitely got to get some people on that know more about Chaos, because I think that story, the behind the scenes of that story, is probably more fascinating than the actual club opening and club. I think behind the scenes of how they were able to spend $14 million on the replica of the devil statue and put it in the middle of the pool. I mean, things that you're just like, wait, what? Wait, hold on. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying I'm smart, but I know that when you're trying to open something up, don't blow all your money on things that are novelties. Put quality into your cabanas, put quality into your experience, put quality into your front door. That was a nightmare to get in over at Chaos, because the front door couldn't even get into the place because they didn't have a great structure. I think what you're going to see in Las Vegas, Virgin Hotels is opening up here soon. What Richard Branson is doing with the user experience at Virgin Hotels, I think is going to change the way Las Vegas is. It's going to. I think Virgin Hotels is exactly. I'm not working for MGM Resorts right now. I can talk about other companies, but I think Virgin Hotels is actually going to be doing it right, doing it correctly. From what I've been hearing about the technology that's coming out of that, it's going to be phenomenal.
What hotel or where is it?
It's the old Hard Rock. I mean, it's right there. Hard Rock had a great run. Hard Rock was unbelievable. I mean, we all know. We all been to Hard Rock. We survived, right? And there are people. But yeah, it's the old Hard Rock, and I think Virgin Hotels is going to be probably the best kind of user experience of Las Vegas, because that's, if you've ever flown Virgin Atlantic, it's a great experience. I mean, when I had to fly to London, flew Virgin Atlantic, it's an amazing experience to fly on Virgin Airline. Why wouldn't it be the same way for the hotel? So I think that's going to be I don't think they're doing nightlife there either. They're doing maybe a couple lounges, but I don't think they're doing a big mega club because they want to have a good user experience. Vegas is I think it's changing a lot. We'll see how we bounce back. Like I said, we bounced back from the Route 91 shooting, and the fact that that's all said and done with now, and we've taken the correct steps and the right steps. That's what the mayor should have been talking about. The mayor, instead of shooting off the hip and saying outlandish and crazy things, should have said, we lost 58 people during the Route 91 shooting. 500 people were injured. Thousands of people were affected by this. Tens of thousands, myself included, were affected by this. Why haven't we've taken the correct steps to ensure the safety of everyone coming to Las Vegas? We can do that here again for the coronavirus and COVID-19. we can make those correct steps to ensure the safety of people coming to Las Vegas, because we've done this before. But, you know, I think that's why someone maybe a position, I don't know, you want to run for mayor? Jeez, like anybody can.
Well, protecting people, you know, from a mass shooter is, I know it sounds really weird, but it's a lot easier than protecting people from a virus than, you know what I mean? So it's definitely not as easy. And I would love to see any, you know, that whole thing. I mean, we're sitting at a blackjack table. There's a bunch of us. We're all passing around the same cards, the same chips. Like,
chips are flying. How are you going to do that? How are you going to, you know, people are passing chips back and forth. People are passing cards back and forth. People are, there needs to be a lot more research done on how this virus, is the virus spread from someone touching something to, if someone touches that? I mean, I don't know, but I'm saying probably it's probably, we now know that it can be, you know, spread through the or the air conditioning systems. So if it can do that, then yeah, I mean, and a hotel is extreme. I mean, they're gonna have to, you know, protective PPE is gonna be something that people are gonna just have to wear. Coming to Las Vegas, it's gonna be the new norm. I mean, I think people are gonna be having just to get comfortable with being uncomfortable for a little bit, and I definitely am going to be here for a while. I'm not going anywhere. Las Vegas is definitely going to change, but you know, we'll get through this.
So you saying that you went to school there? Your family's still out there? All your family lives in Vegas, or?
My mom's actually a nurse. My mom's a nurse at Mountain View Hospital. You know, she's on the front lines. She is in the delivery rooms, you know, taking care of all the babies and things like that. But I was talking to her yesterday, and my mom was telling me that they've had one case on their floor. She's wearing all the protective gear that she needs to wear. She says it's exhausting. You know, these are nurses that are taking care of, you know, the people coming in. But Las Vegas, the impact Las Vegas has had, Las Vegas hasn't had a bigger impact than, say, New York. Vegas has been very good about social distancing, keeping everybody safe, and kind of protecting ourselves. So we haven't seen the numbers spike like there has been in New York. My mom is a nurse. She works, you know, 6 days a week. Been here my entire life. But it's definitely crazy to see it. We'll see what happens. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens.
I want to thank you, although this is, like I said, the first time we ever met each other in person, although we've texted a million times, whatever. Yeah, but
I know. It's awesome to actually finally see your face. This is the new norm now, Rob. Yeah. This is the new norm. Okay, so this is how we're all going to be talking to each other.
I guess.
I mean, there's so many stories. I definitely I feel good about this because I feel like it was more you know, educational and more serious than I could have gotten, because I could have gotten into some crazy stories, and right now it's more of the time to, you know, there's a time and place for everything, and that's what people need to realize, that there's a time and place for everything. We'll get back to the craziness, we'll get back to the fun stories, we'll get back to all of those good times, and, you know, the cheersing and the being happy about things. But right now we got to kind of focus on just being safe and being respectful between each other, and look to Las Vegas, because Las Vegas is kind of a ground zero situation because of the amount of tourism we have here, and you'll see kind of where I think the nation will go from there, as is everything else that comes out of Las Vegas. I mean, we're kind of the epicenter, like LA. You know, Los Angeles is great when it comes to entertainment, and we're kind of like the little brother to Los Angeles. We're pretty much neighbors.
Different entertainment. We're in the movie and TV, and you guys are in the, you know, the actual entertainment, kind of the nightlife and stuff like that. So, and yeah, definitely, I don't think Vegas is going anywhere, and I hope that we can kind of get past this pretty quickly, and everyone. And I just know that there's a lot of people out of work for sure. I mean, like you said, there was how many thousands of people that are just in MGM alone. I mean, that's just one hotel group basically.
hopefully you'll come out to Vegas when this is all said and done. We'll get to hang out. No, definitely we'll get to party. We'll get to do, all the things that we should have done before.
Yep.
And I think I'm going to go to LA here after this is all set, because that's the thing. We're going to travel. People are going to get back to traveling. We all want to travel. We all want to get out of the house. I want to get to LA. We'll go hang out. I'll go, you know where to find me if I go to LA. So definitely come out here. You always have a place to stay if you ever come out to Vegas. We're definitely welcoming everybody that's here, and hopefully we'll get this thing back up and running here soon.
I want to end it on that. That was perfect. You couldn't have done it any better right there, man.
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much for doing this. And the show is called Cool, Calm, Connected, although you may be connected in Vegas and we both have the same connection, which is Ryan. But if you ever need anything, if you guys ever need anything, please don't hesitate to ask me. Because if I can't get it, I'll try to find it for you for sure.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Stay safe.
All right, you too. Take care.